This video is sponsored by Woodworkers Guild of America. What is going on YouTube? Today I want to show you how to make an outdoor chair just like this one. My name's Andy, this is Cedar River Woodworking, and welcome to the shop. I live inside my own. Well, today we are building some chairs. Today I want to talk to you about building these hefty chairs. These chairs are built out of construction lumber that you can find at your local big box store, and all you're going to need is a drill, a driver, and a miter saw to make these chairs. You can make these chairs with a circular saw or some other type of saw like that, but I'm going to show you how to build them with a miter saw. So a few things to start off with. Thank you to the members of the channel. I really appreciate you. We have a dining room table that's coming up with plans, and I'm going to have a giveaway for that. So if you're not yet a member, please consider being a member. If you're not yet wanting to be a member, please consider subscribing because that really helps grow this channel. I will have plans for these chairs and most of the other projects that I do on this channel on my Etsy shop. It will be pinned down in the description below. Also, just like always, I will have some affiliate links so that you can find all of the materials that you need and tools that I use for these builds. So let's hop over to the miter saw and I will show you exactly how we make these chairs. Here we are over at our miter saw. We seem to start a lot of our projects here, but that is the basis around our DIY projects. So what we're going to do, since it's going to be DIY, we're going to use some readily available wood. What I've got is some 2x material. This here is 2x4. I've got 4 2x4s that I'm going to start this out with. So to start off this build, I'm going to mark this out at 20 inches and I'm going to cut 2 pieces at 20 inches. Like I normally do, I cut the end off of here just so I make sure that I have it square. And we're going to have 2 of these at 20, like I said. So the 2 cut at 20, we're going to make another cut, and we are going to cut these 2 pieces at 27 inches. You should have a small piece of scrap left over just like this. Now with this next 2x4, I'm going to go ahead and cut the end off of it, and then I'm going to cut 2 pieces at 21.5 inches long. Now these 2 pieces are going to be our front legs, so I'm actually going to set a stop block for this so I know that they're exactly the same length. Just like always, if you're using a stop block, make sure that you are holding the side that is pinned against the stop block, or you make sure that your saw comes to a complete stop before raising the blade. It could catch one of those teeth and cause a kickback, and we really don't want that. So now that we have those 2 pieces cut, we're going to measure out 2 pieces at 24 inches. You can also set a stop block for this as well if you wanted to. It just makes making these cuts a lot easier and more repeatable. And again, we're just going to have a small piece of scrap left over. I'm going to go ahead and keep this scrap piece right here. It's going to help us with some spacing later on in this build. So here's going to be the long bit. This is going to be where our seat slats are going to come from, and we are going to cut 10 of these pieces. While we were making those cuts, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Woodworkers Guild of America. Woodworkers Guild of America is your go-to online resource for woodworking instruction, ideas, and information. They are a community of passionate woodworkers that come together to express their creativity and to master their craft. Their website has a vast collection of woodworking tutorials. These tutorials are presented across videos, blogs, and even question and answers with expert woodworkers. Currently, I am learning many different bandsaw techniques and joinery so that I can bring them to you guys and show you how to expand your DIY craft. Woodworkers Guild of America has provided me a unique link that I will have pinned down in the pinned comment and in the video description below, where the first 1,000 of my subscribers that click on that link can get a premium membership to Woodworkers Guild of America for only $1.49. This will get you access to all of the videos, blogs, and question and answer sessions that you want with master woodworkers. So again, I would like to thank Woodworkers Guild of America for sponsoring this video. And again, make sure that you check out that link down in the description below to get your membership for $1.49. Well, now that we have those 10 slat pieces cut out, I've got a 2x6 here, and you're only going to need one 2x6 for this build. So in total, you're going to need 4 2x4s and 1 2x6 for the entire build. We're going to set our saw to 30 degrees. So then we're going to lock down that saw, and we're going to cut the end of here at a 30-degree angle. We're going to go ahead and leave our saw at 30 degrees, and we're going to make a parallelogram. That means that the ends are parallel to each other. So you won't need to flip the board or anything like that. Just slide it down the saw, and you're going to cut this from the tip of that. We're going to measure down 24.5 inches. This is another critical length, so I'm going to set a stop block for this, even though I'm only cutting 2 of these legs. So we're going to have a decent amount of scrap left over from this one. This is already at a 30-degree angle, so you could cut another one of these legs here and have this small chunk left over. So if you were making 2 chairs, you're going to have enough left over from 2 2x6s that you're going to get an extra 2 legs out of it. So that's going to be the leg assembly for a 3rd chair if you are planning on selling these. Let's head over to the bench and get this thing assembled. Alrighty, so here we are at the bench, and what we are going to do is make our leg assemblies first. So the boards that I have set out here are 2 27-inch pieces. We have our 2 21.5-inch pieces, and then our 2 2x6s that we cut at a 30-degree angle. These are at 24.5 inches. How we are going to assemble this together is with some 2.5-inch deck screws. These are coated screws, and I'm going to need a drill and a driver. You can just use a drill if you wanted to, but you'll have to swap out bits. I do have a drill bit, a pilot bit, and a countersink attached to this one, and then the driver bit for these screws in my impact. So how we are going to do this is I'm going to set half of these aside so that I have one front leg, one back leg, and then an armrest. So as you can see, I have a board here clamped to my table. It's going to act as a ground for me, or like a straight edge, so that I know that the bottoms of these feet are lined up with each other. And I'm going to lay these out here with my 27-inch armrest laid across the top. So this armrest, I'm going to measure in 1 inch from the front edge, and that's where the start of the front leg is going to be. So I'm going to measure in 1 inch, and that will be where that front leg is. Then I'm going to pre-drill and drive in 2 screws to hold that into place. One of the things that I like to do is I have a piece of 3/4 inch plywood here. I'm just going to lay it across where the joint is going to be, and then I'm going to draw a line across there so that I know that my screws are all going to be at the same place, so they're not going to look all wonky across there. So with that there, I'm just going to pre-drill. Now you can glue these joints, or if you don't want exposed screws, you could use some pocket holes from the bottom side. This is just going to be some outdoor furniture for me, so it's not that big of a deal. Now that we have that front leg in place, I'm going to measure from the front here 13 inches. And that's going to be the front tip of my back leg. So in that same process, I'm just going to draw a line, and then I'm going to pre-drill. I'm going to actually use 3 screws for this back piece here. Be careful about going too far forward on this back leg, because you could drill all the way through and come out the front tip of that. Now that we have that all secured together, this is going to be what our side leg assembly is going to look like. This is going to be the inside face where our seat and our back are going to get mounted to. So we need to make another foot assembly just like this one. Now we're going to have to make it opposite so they don't both look like this. One's going to be this direction and one's going to be the other direction. So make sure that you are watching out for that. So this one, I have the leg facing to my left. The next one, I'm going to make it facing to my right. So I'm going to go ahead and make that other assembly. I'll be right back. Well, now that we have our two, I don't know, they kind of look like pie symbols to me. Our leg assemblies made up here. You can see they do face different from each other so that they have a good surface that they can bolt onto the seat and the backrest. I did forget one thing with our backrest, so we are going to hop back over to our miter saw with our 24.5-inch pieces. So to complete everything that we need to do over here on the miter saw, we do have our two back pieces, which are 24.5 inches long. I need to establish a 15-degree angle on this end. So it's not actually a 15-degree angle, because if we cut 15, we set our saw to 15 degrees, it's not going to give us the right back placement. It's going to lean us way too far back, and it's not going to be comfortable. So we need to cut 15 off of 90. So we will be cutting a 75-degree angle. This will be kind of difficult, but I'm going to be using our trusty extreme angle jig. If you have not seen that video, check out the video that I have pinned right here. So how we are going to establish this 15-degree angle is we're going to measure all the way down from this end here, and we're going to do 20 5/8 of an inch. And then from the other side here, we're going to measure up 2 9/16 of an inch. Then, just using any type of straight edge, I'm going to connect these two lines together. So you should get a pretty extreme angle like this one right here. So what we're going to do, since I already have my saw set to the 30 degrees because we cut our back legs with that, I'm going to clamp down our extreme angle jig here, and I'm going to make this cut. So this is what that angle should look like. We need to cut both of them like this. I'm just going to go ahead and trace that line onto my other one using this as a template. So now that we have everything done over on our miter saw, we can go ahead and build our seat and our back. So what we need is our two 20-inch pieces, and we're going to need all 10 of these 17-inch pieces. I know I didn't mention that before, but yeah, if you're at this point, let me know that these are 17-inch pieces down in the comment section below, so I know that you made it this far in the video. So what we're going to do is we are going to essentially make a frame with the 20-inch pieces on the outside, so that we are going to make a 20 by 20 inch square. And then we're going to have our seat slats set down inside of there. So you can see all of these are standing on edge, and then our seat slats are going to fit horizontally like this. Now this is where those cutoff pieces are going to work great, because I can set one of those cutoff pieces here on the front so that I have equal spacing all the way across. So I'm going to start out, and I'm actually just going to put 3 of these seat slats in here, so we don't have to worry about getting trapped or having to finagle them in there. But yeah, we're going to use the same trick as we did before, where I have a 3/4 inch piece, and this will be about center on our 2x4 here, and so that our screws line up correctly. Now it's going to be the same process all the way through. We're going to pre-drill and then put 2 screws into each one of these boards. Now how I like to do this is I work on one side and then I work on the other side. It's just how my workflow works best for me, but you can do it however you would like. So remember our 2 spacers here, push them up against the front. And I'm going to draw my line. Now, if you have made it this far in the video, I'm assuming that you've liked it so far, so please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And if you really like it, please hit that like button. And if you don't have any of these tools, or if you're missing something, I will have all of these linked down in the video description below. Now this last section, there is going to be a larger gap than the width of 2x4. It's not much larger, and we're going to also put that section towards the back, so it won't even be noticeable. Well, now that we have our seat bottom made, we're going to go ahead and make our back. Now, these can have a tendency to flex on you, and I do have a solution for that a little bit later in the video. So to move on to our back, I do have our 2 pieces with the angles cut on the bottom of them. And I'm going to take one of the 17-inch pieces, and I'm actually going to rest it all the way down at the bottom of here. So this can be a little bit tricky to get in here correctly. So I have a piece of that 3/4 inch stock underneath of here, and then I can lay that corner there and match it right up, and then pre-drill and put in our screws. Now I did put the 2 bottom screws in here first, so if I need to pivot this board, I can, so that I can make it flush with this. So now that I have this U shape made out, I'm actually going to set this off to the side, and we're going to start attaching things, and then we're going to put the back slats on here once the back and the seat are in place. So with your leg laid on the table, I do have it propped up by some of those scrap pieces, so it's a little bit more flat for us. I'm going to measure up from on the bottom foot up 15 inches. And using a square, I'm going to strike a line all the way across at that 15-inch mark. Now remember, our bottom slat here, we do have one section that is a little bit bigger with a gap on it. It's going to go towards the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line the front edge of the seat slat here with that 15-inch mark, and I'm going to pre-drill and drive 1 screw. The 1 screw is so that I can level the seat out, and that's going to take care of any deflection or twisting that we might have during this process. So we're going to do that to this side, and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to attach it to the other leg assembly as well. Now you should be able to measure up on the bottom of this foot up 15 inches, and that will be about the same. However, if you have any twisting, one edge might drop down a little bit lower than the other one, so that's why we're doing this pivot technique that I'm going to show you here. Now that we have our seat with 1 screw on each side set up here, we can level this out and drive some screws into it. So I have a level here. I know that my bench is level, so I'm just going to put it across the seat slat here and level it out. Now, if we were to assemble this all together while it's on its side, one of these legs might be kicked up or have some weird anomaly with it. So that is the best way to do it that I have found. I've got this leveled. I'm going to pre-drill and drive in 2 screws into the back here, and that's going to lock it at that level position. And then I can put in 4 more screws so that I have 2 screws in each one of these joints. Now that we have our seat assembly on here, we can go ahead and put our back assembly on. So this is the reason why we made this U shape, is that we can just slide it in here. So that is a pretty tight fit, for me at least, but we're gonna drive 3 screws into this bottom stretcher. So the reason why we didn't make this an entire assembly and then install it is so that we could get a couple screws into these armrests here. And we're also gonna drive a couple screws into the back leg. Now I have the chair laid down so I can make this process a little bit easier, because now we are going to make the framework for this chair. So it's going to be put together just like we did the bottom piece, where we're going to have one piece that is sideways, and then the rest of them, they're going to face outwards, so you have something to lean against. Well, once you have that back all screwed together, you will have a finished chair. These things are really fun to put together, nice and easy and extremely sturdy. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you would like plans for this chair or any of the other plans that I have done here on YouTube, go check out my Etsy site and I will have all of those over there. So if you've made it this far into the video, I will have a double chair coming out. So it will have 2 of these together with a center section where you can have drinks and things like that as well. So if you made it this far, leave a comment down in the comment section below that says double, and then ask your question or have your comment after that, so I know that you made it this far in the video. Like always, if you liked the video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. For now, my name is Andy. This has been Cedar River Woodworking, and we'll see you in the next video.